Well, there has been a big controversy which has been brewing the rounds now on social media platforms about the appointment of the next deputy NSA, Jawed Ashraf. The right-wing army, which has become a massive group of foot soldiers for the BJP, is very upset as to why is it that someone with a surname like Ashraf, belonging to the Muslim community, why is that person being appointed as a deputy NSA? Is that a valid criticism? Well, with me, someone who was the original fanboy of Prime Minister Modi and the original mover to the right wing from the Muslim side, Zafar Sareshwala, well-known activist joining us live today. Great to have you on Squirrels, Zafar bhai.
Thank you so much.
I always introduce you the original fanboy of the Prime Minister, the original person who moved to the right. Tell me, when you look at this criticism which is being mounted today on social media platforms, that a Muslim should not be made the deputy NSA of this country, how do you respond to that?
Bhupen, there cannot be a bigger joke than this. I mean, you are mentioning about those right-wing, I know I've also seen on Twitter, they are biggest fools the country has and biggest enemies of Mr. Modi, enemy within. These are the people who have spoiled Mr. Modi's image across the world. Now, I want to ask about Jawed Ashraf. You think that this government or any government would put somebody based on his religious identity? I mean, this is what India has become. I have had an opportunity to work very closely with Mr. Jawed Ashraf. Now, Mr. Jawed Ashraf has been one of the finest IFS officers the country has. I mean, I used to interact with him when he was in the Prime Minister's office. One of the best officers which Indian government had. And he has a very long career. I mean, prior to Mr. Modi, Mr. Jawed Ashraf was with Manmohan Singh Saab. And most of these summit-level talks which Indian government had with the US and the US government prior to Mr. Modi, there were at least three or four summit-level meetings with the US president. They were all conducted by him. He's one of the. He has a very, clean and a very good academic record. He is an IFS. He's also a graduate of Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. I know him. He was in that 87 batch, and I used to be in Ahmedabad.
But Zafar bhai, the question being raised, and I can look at authors and people who have been associated with academic institutions, the government, like R. Jagannathan, for instance, and a whole range of other individuals who are questioning that if you are talking about a political ecosystem and a party where representation to Muslims is not given, politically speaking, that the criticism against the BJP has always been that when it comes to parliamentary elections, when it comes to legislative assembly elections, Muslims are not considered. In that kind of an ecosystem, a sensitive position like that, a high security position like that of a deputy NSA being given to a member of the minority community, how do these two contrarian positions coexist?
No, this shows the bankruptcy of these bigots. I mean, their bigotry is at the lowest level. You think that the Prime Minister of the country would appoint somebody at this position, a sensitive position as deputy NSA, just because he has some religious background? Or this position is reserved even for a non-Muslim, only based on somebody's caliber? Because this is the most sensitive position. You need a person with highest level of integrity, number one. Second, a very intelligent man who knows the world. So you think that, for example, Mr. Modi brought Ajit Doval Sahab, who had retired in 2005. What was his claim to fame? He was chief of RAW. He was chief of IB. He knew the world like back of his hand. These are the issues, once at a level, that level, it goes beyond religious identity of anybody. And I pity these bigots whom you were talking about, that they can stoop to this level.
But what is happening? What is happening is that now I've been seeing, and I saw the germination of this thought process first, initially after the Karnataka Assembly debacle, where the BJP lost the election last year. Now, again, I'm seeing it's the entire army of what some describe as right-wing trolls or tweeters or Instagrammers. the sense of hurt which is being expressed by many of these individuals is today is the same as a sense of hurt which was being expressed when the BJP lost the Karnataka Assembly elections. Do you think that army, which has done well for the BJP in terms of building a mahal so far, is that army today, feeling a bit of a reverse bite of sorts that they had, or the strategy which they had worked out, that strategy today is backfiring against them? Would that be a correct way to read the situation?
In fact, Bhupen, these people have been the biggest disaster for BJP. The kind of harm which they've brought to Mr. Modi's personality and to BJP, these people are responsible. In fact, I remember last year one of these, the so-called on Twitter, and there are a couple of them on YouTube also. I showed their assertion because the moment they only open their mouths two times. Once, the moment they open the mouth, they make Hindu Muslim everything, Hindu Muslim. They only see Hindu and a Muslim. Third, they only abuse Muslims. Third, they abuse only Islam. This is their claim to fame. I took their videos to the highest level, and you know what he said? He said, Zafar bhai, India has 100 crore Muslims, and these guys which you have brought, come on, let's go to brass tacks. And they said, how many followers this man has on YouTube? And it has some 250,000 followers. One IT guy, on Twitter, he said, how many followers this guy has? And he had some 200,000 or 300,000. So the gentleman told me that if at all these people would have some semblance, at least they should have 20 million followers. Means Hindus also don't follow them. And I saw all of them now. Collectively, they don't have followers of even 10 million collectively. So I think these are just, empty vessels making noise. But apart from that, government of India, forget about anything. They bring people on sensitive posts only with people of highest level of integrity and people who have brilliance to the next level.
But
so Jawed Ashraf belongs to that category.
Let me ask you then from the other side. If I'm with you that that a position like that of a deputy NSA obviously has to be based purely on merit. But let's look at the political environment and the political optics which exist in the country. Would it be fair to say that the appointment of Mr. Ashraf today as a deputy NSA would go down very well, very easily with the Muslim community? How would they be looking towards?
See, I'll tell you, Muslim community is not getting into this. Like, this whole narrative was happening, not a single Muslim minister, not a single. So Muslim community has gone much ahead of this because Muslims feel that we don't want symbolism now. You appoint just one Muslim as a minority affairs minister or one, even Congress party. Forget about BJP. Even earlier, you only had symbolism, symbolic Muslim presence, one or two. So Muslim community has now gone beyond that and they say, अपने अंदर में काबिलियत पैदा करो तालीम की बुनियाद पर ईमानदारी और अमानतदारी के साथ. The day you have that, then people who put you behind will come knocking at your doors and take you. So I think there is no alternative to your caliber, and that caliber will only come with your level of education, honesty, and integrity. So now the Muslim community believes that.
I remember just a few weeks back before the elections, when the civil services results were declared this year, the maximum number of Muslim students had cleared the civil service. And I remember having a conversation with you. You had alluded to this even at that time. Now I'm seeing a meritorious officer who happens to be a Muslim now being appointed as a deputy NSA. The argument remains the same. Is there a problem, Zafar bhai, according to you, with this right-wing, so-called pro-BJP social media warriors ecosystem, which continues to harp on this position, that the BJP is perhaps making a mistake, if at all the BJP under Prime Minister Modi was appearing to be a more centrist party, it was going to be a mistake. Do you think this sense which is being echoed by the right-wing media warriors, right-wing, echo chambers, do you think it's becoming a problem for the BJP today?
In fact, this right-wing echo chambers, I have not seen anybody less bigot than them. Bigotry is their claim to fame. And see, Mr. Modi may be a right wing, BJP government is right wing, but when they sit on the position of power, I've seen Mr. Modi in Gujarat, I've seen them in 10 years. When they sit there, then they don't become right wing or left wing. Then they see more or less, at least in people putting people on position. I've seen that in Gujarat also. At that time, merit and meritoriousness, honesty and integrity is the only criteria for them. So I think this would be a big slap to these people, and I'm not worried, because they are a minority. I've seen all of them. They don't even get all of them totally. They don't even go to the 10 million level. Now, for 1 billion Hindus of the country, their followers are not even 10, 15 million. So these people don't merit anything.
Okay. All right. Always a pleasure speaking to you, Zafar Bhai. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and turning the spotlight squarely on this rather unfortunate debate which has been going on social media. Thank you so much, sir.